welcome back to Light Fragments Oracle. I'm so glad that you are here with me today. It's a gorgeous day here in southern New Hampshire, finally, and it looks like we're going to have a pretty nice week ahead, so I'm looking forward to that. The leaves are changing, change is in the air, and we can all feel it. A little bit at least. So before I get into the topic of today's video, I just wanted to let you know that I am going to be putting on some makeup as we chat, and I also want to give you my final review on the Botanical Republic Restore Youth Serum. This product has changed my opinion and my views on serums. I never liked them before. I didn't like the oiliness, the greasiness, the feeling like when I put it on and then I'd put my makeup on, it made my makeup feel greasy, even if it was a matte. And that was why I stuck with the Charlotte Tilbury, because it did not do that to me. And when Botanical Republic reached out to me, I said, yes, I'm ready to try something new. I'm ready to be open-minded. And now you can see the bottle, how much of it I have used in the last 2.5 weeks. This was filled all the way up to the top. You don't need a lot. You only need 3 drops minimum, up to 5 drops. I find that when I use 3 drops, for me, it is the perfect amount of drops. I did try 5 drops for a couple of days, which is probably why it's down a little bit more than it was. But I have nothing but good things to say about this serum. I love the way it makes my skin feel. I love the spa experience it gives me. I love that it soaks right into my skin and it dries quickly. I love the ingredients in it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the video up here so that you guys can click on that and get a more detailed information, get more detailed information on this product. As I've mentioned before, it is $88. It is a little pricey, but I'm going into week 3 here, or am into week 3, and I have not used a lot of this serum. So figure, okay, about this much, that's just a little lower, so that's 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months. I mean, you're going to get a lot of months out of this. And when I use this, unless I want extra hydration, which I might want in the coming winter, I don't need to put anything else on my skin. Unless I use this at night, then I will put my moisturizer on over it. And that's it. Or maybe I will slug with it. So, yeah, it's great. My skin, just as a rule, feels better. I don't have anything on my skin right now. It's completely clean. So I will be putting some of this on in a few minutes. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try my new Anita of Denmark, which is a 3-in-1 lips, eyes, and cheeks called Fantasia. I bought it primarily for my cheeks, but I'm going to use it today as an eyeshadow. I still want a minimal look because it's the weekend, and then tomorrow I will do a more dramatic look. Listen, guys, one of the problems that I have is I have so many ideas for Art Deco looks. I have created them on paper, but if I have a job to do in the afternoon, and I do a video in the morning, I really don't want to wash my face and then leave the house. And that's what I would have to do, because I cannot go to my customers' houses with this Art Deco look on. It's just not professional for what I do. So, yeah, I mean, just regular makeup, I can do that, but not with Art Deco. So just give it a couple more weeks as I begin to wind down even some of the newer people that I took on for a bit. Like this one woman, I'm only going to be at her house for one day, and that will free up that day. So I will be able to start to plug those videos in. But thank you so much for being patient with me. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Anita of Denmark Daydew Alabaster Medium, which I've already used a couple of times. And yeah, so then we're just going to do makeup, and we're going to have a little bit of a chit chat. So what is the subject today? First of all, I would like to apologize for my last video, the intuitive messages for each astrological sign that I got. I'm not an astrologer, and off the top of my head, I only wrote down 9 signs, and then I remembered that I forgot Scorpio, so I added that in my video, and I left out 2 others, Virgo and Aries. So if you go to that video, you will see a pinned comment with the messages for Virgo and Aries. And that's what I got for the end of September moving into October for the astrological signs. All I do is I focus, and I do a little bit of remote viewing and kind of scan and see what's going on out there, and I form my intuitive message. So I didn't go anywhere else. I didn't look up astrological signs. I mean, obviously, because I forgot a few. And I just took a pad of paper and started writing down all the ones I could remember, and then I went back and did my focus and sending my consciousness out there, and that's what I got. So yeah, check that one out too. And if you are Virgo and Aries, read the pinned comment, and also you can go into my community tab because I put a post in there as well. Okay, the topic for today is, this is kind of a tough topic, because my guess and my sense is that there's a lot more of this happening than we even realize. And years ago, I remember how I felt. I remember when I was in my 20s and 30s. And I lived in a neighborhood where most of the people either had family that had a lot of money or they had a lot of money. And I'm not saying they didn't have to work, but they certainly were in a better position than us. And I felt this pressure of having to compare myself to all these people and what they had and what they did and where they went to my circumstances. And it's just, it's all of it is an illusion. And when I say an illusion, that doesn't mean if you look at your neighbor's house and it looks really great and grand and beautiful, and they got people coming in and taking care of the lawns and the flower gardens or whatever, that's an illusion. No, that's real. It's happening. But the illusion is the way the mind perceives it all. And even though, say you live in a neighborhood and you don't really get to see or hear what goes on inside each other's, these other homes, it doesn't mean that there's not something going on in there that's very painful, hurtful, and maybe struggling to keep what they have. So I wrote down a few notes because this is something that I have had to learn after telling my story to all of you guys. This is something that I have had to learn myself. And it's really easy for other people to say, well, let me step back a bit. I remember being so bitter, resentful, and angry that I had a hard time looking at other people having, a wonderful relationship, walking hand in hand down the street, even if it was somebody I didn't know, talking about their children, my kids are perfect and they don't do anything wrong and I am so blessed and I am so happy. And then, of course, the finances. People that would say stuff like, well, I don't have any credit cards because as soon as I get my credit card in the mail, I pay the bill. Well, goody two shoes for you. Not everybody can do that. It's kind of a braggadocious thing. It's also very braggadocious when you have a neighbor who invites you over to see everything that they just got. And if you're not on the same playing field as them, after a while, if this is happening frequently, you're going to feel like less than a person. You're going to feel like, what am I doing wrong? You're going to feel like, my life sucks, or even to the extreme, it's never going to get as good as that. And a lot of times it's because of what you're going through compared to what they're going through. It's not a level playing field. And I remember when I first got on Facebook, I couldn't wait to share my life, share my house, share my this, share my that. And I don't do that as much anymore. I might share some of the work that we've done ourselves to our house, but I don't want to do that anymore. Because there are people that don't have what I have. And there are people that have so much more than what I have. And if I look at the greater picture, what is the message that I want to portray to the rest of the world? Get more stuff and you'll be happy? Cover yourself up and you're going to be happy? Don't let anybody see your flaws and you're going to be happy? That's not how the soul works. The soul is deeper than that. The soul gives you nudges as to what you need to learn and grow on a spiritual level before your soul leaves this planet. So, when something terrible happens to you, that situation becomes part of your story, part of your history. And it has a way of twisting you, your feelings, your emotions, your memories. It has a way of twisting you. And oftentimes, the way you portray yourself defines you. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today, and I'm going to need to keep putting my glasses on and taking my glasses off because I can't read without them. So how is everybody doing? How is everybody doing? I really had a great weekend. This was the first weekend that we have had where we really didn't have to do anything for a couple of months. And, you know, that's another thing. That's another thing that I've really had to work hard at. You know, I've never gone to another country other than Canada. And it wasn't that far into Canada. I know so many people that have done this, right? Because I tend to be a person that looks at my finances, looks at my situation, and I go from there. And you know, I'm just the kind of person where I would rather invest in my home where I live as best as I can than to take thousands and thousands of dollars and go on a trip. And people are like, well, you've never lived until you've gone here, or you've never lived until you've gone there. And I somewhat agree with that. But when you return home, what do you have left? You don't live there. You went there, you spent a ton of money, you got to see all these places and experience them, but when you come home, you have pictures and memories. It's fleeting. It's gone. So what is the constant in your life? What is the constant in your life that you can bank on even until your last day on this planet? What is that constant? Is it family? Is it good friends? Is it your job? Is it, I mean, think about that. I mean, a lot of people aren't even going to be able to retire. So their job might be their constant. Is it your faith? Is it your ability to be flexible? What is your constant? So let me just read another part of my notes. We discussed that this terrible thing that might still be going on that has happened to you becomes part of your history, it becomes part of your story, and it does not have to define you as a person. The process of becoming through that also does not have to define you, because you will come out of that. You will move out of that painful experience. And there are people that will hold you to this part, this process. But you don't have to hold yourself to that. You're growing, you're changing, you're becoming. And when you look at someone and it appears that their life is better than yours in many facets, remember, you're probably not seeing everything. And even if they were to tell you everything, you still don't get all of the dark stuff, the shadow stuff that goes on inside of them, because they might be too embarrassed to tell you. Terrible things happen to every single one of us at some point in time in our lives. Painful things. And if we stay stuck there, after a while, the situation is not the fault anymore. What everybody else is doing that you feel bitter and resentful for, they're not at fault either. But the fact that you're staying stuck, that you cannot move yourself forward enough to begin the process of becoming unstuck, that's on you. And I know that's really hard to hear, but I had to hear it. I had to hear it. And that was probably one of the hardest things about my awakening, the many that I've had, to hear. The blame game. If this didn't happen, if they didn't do this, if I could only be this. Well, the truth of the matter is you can. You can come out of the pain. You can orchestrate your thoughts. You can get help. You can say, by, this date, I am going to begin to leave my freaking house. It's going to be hard, but I'm going to do it. That is the begin process. But here is a list of stories that we play over and over again in our heads. They run like movies. The death of a loved one, illness, disability, financial loss, estrangement, the death of a pet. I know people that cannot move on and adopt another animal, and it's been 4 or 5 years because they're still pining away for the death of because of the death of their pet. And I'm not making light of this. But let's put this in perspective. It's been 5 years. There are other pets out there that need you, that will love you and you them. Here's another one that drives me absolutely batshit crazy, and I'm giving my opinion. The trauma bonding that goes on social media, where people will post about losing their parents 40 years ago. My dad died when I was 19. Okay? Yes, I understand memorials, but 40 years of memorials? They don't want you to do that. They're with God. They don't want you to do that. That's living in trauma. A silent prayer. I remember this day. I love you so much. The first 10 years, I can see it. But 40? 50? Yeah, I've seen it. It's reliving that. It's reliving it. I don't know what for. But you can relive that all you want without having to let everybody know about it. You don't have to. Chances are all those people that were around 50 years ago aren't around either. So people will say you cannot put a time frame on grief. I disagree. After a certain point, it becomes an obsession and extremely mentally unhealthy. And it does depend on the kind of trauma as well. It does depend on the kind of trauma and the age of the recipient and all of that. But across the board, as a general rule, playing these things over and over and over again in your mind, unless it's to help somebody else, does not help you. And at that point begins to define you. And you are to live your life and create beautiful memories and beautiful things. It's called mastery. It's called becoming the master of your own life. And if you're going to continue to play the same movies, videos, scenarios in your mind every day, over and over again, you're not going to be able to move forward. I know it was a tough message to hear today, wasn't it? And let me just tell you, physical exhaustion, it's tough. Mental exhaustion is tougher. So get moving, get busy, find a hobby where you can be a little active a couple times a week to start moving your mind out of that place and on to the next happier place. Okay, let's get the makeup on. I would not be helping you if I didn't say those things. I wouldn't be helping you. Some of you literally can't do certain things to help yourself. Everything that I say to you has either been said to me or I've experienced it in my inner person. All right, let's use the Fantasia 3-in-1, and I'm going to put that just on my lid. I just think it'll be a pretty fall color. Based on my lips, when I put it on my lips, it does dry down. But if you had this in your pocketbook and you had someplace you had to go and you didn't have any makeup on, you could easily use this as a one and done. Look at the difference. It's amazing, isn't it? And you know, when I go downstairs and I look in my magnifying mirror, it really goes on so easy. that, you know, there's very little to have to even touch up. I think I'm going to use gold. I think that this Fantasia color with the gold is going to be really pretty. So I'm just going to kind of tap that with a brush under my eyebrow. Dark brown right here. And I'm going to run it over the top of my eyelid. Close to my eyelashes. And the nice thing about this Fantasia 3-in-1 is it's a great foundation for you to use eyeshadows as eyeliners, because sometimes when you use, you know, a powdered a matte or even a shimmer eyeshadow, and then you go to use your eyeshadow as an eyeliner, it can wear off really easily even with a primer on. But with this base, it's different. Okay, same with this side. You know, friends, bravery and courage is something that we learn. We learn how to be brave in this life. We learn how to have courage in this life. And if we're constantly running away from our emotions, our feelings, circumstances, situations that are uncomfortable, even painfully devastating, if we run away, we don't learn how to be brave and courageous and strong. Strength is not screaming and yelling. Inner strength is being in that spot where you know what's going on and you feel the emotions, but you are willing to go through them and learn whatever it is you need to learn. Whatever's left on my brush, I'm just going to drag it under my eye. Okay, I'll leave that. I'm not even going to put any definition right here. I'm just going to leave it the two colors for today. And then, oh, I'm hot. It got into the 70s today, so it got kind of hot. All right, let me put on, what am I going to use for? I haven't used my Tinty Dole concealer, under eye concealer, in a while. So I'm going to use it today. This has no scent. I'm going to cover up my spots with it too. I think I'm just going to go for it and put a bunch of concealer on. What the heck? I'm not going anywhere. I already ran my errands today. All right. just kind of feather this in. The Tinty Dole Lancome Tinty Dole Concealer is really nice. I can't believe the traffic. Well, I can believe the traffic. Actually, I went to Walmart this morning and well, it was early afternoon. I slept in this morning. My husband let me sleep in, and I was like, oh my gosh. When I got up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I slept this long. Let's put on the Anita of Denmark. Oh my God, I love this. I cannot wait. I'm telling you, I cannot wait to do my foundation consensus in the next couple months. I can't wait. It's going to be really interesting. All right. Yeah, I don't think that I can use a brush with this foundation. And I have to tell you, I kind of like that. I really like it. Because it is so emollient and it needs to warm up on your skin before you rub it in. It's just, it's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. For mature skin that's normal to dry or even dry skin, it's gorgeous. And then my fingers smell good. Oh, it's just so pretty. And then back in the case it goes. I love that brush, but I didn't really get to use it. And that's okay. That is perfectly okay. All right, let's go back to the Fantasia for the cheeks. That's how I'm going to do it. I'm not tapping it on this time. I'm going to draw a line so you guys can see how pretty this is. And I used a brush the other day and it worked out really well. So I'm going to use the brush right now. Look how beautifully this blends. Honestly, you know, it makes me wonder. And, you know, I'm not dissing any brands. God knows I love makeup. But it makes me wonder, some of these new and improved, you know, this and that. Was there not makeup like that years ago? I mean, this certainly proves that to be true. And this certainly proves that to be true. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to use my Charlotte Tilbury bronzer, and I am going to purchase a cream bronzer from LYS. The other thing I love about this foundation is that it receives makeup on top of it so nicely. Like really nicely. And if you use a bronzer that's not really dark, it almost acts like a powder, you know, like you're powdering your foundation. You can see. Oh, let's put a little highlighter on my, while we're at it, let's put a little highlighter on my cheeks. I'm not afraid of texture. I'm not afraid of it, and you shouldn't be either. Particularly if you're using emollient bases on your skin. Take my little puff, and I'm just going to kind of feather out my highlighter. I'm going to curl my eyelashes, and I'll be right back. Okay, my friends, this Fantasia, look at this eyeshadow. 3-in-1. Is this not gorgeous? It is a beautiful color. Let me just close my eyes. Oh my gosh, it's like a soft rose, or it can look a little rusty, and I used it on my cheeks. I did put on my White Wedding lipstick, but oh my gosh, it's such a gorgeous color. And look at how my eyeliner is really like on there. That's so amazing. Okay, I'm going to bid you all adieu. Be brave, be courageous, and be strong. And do not allow what you are going through now to define you tomorrow. Because the situation is what it is. And you are who you are in the depths of your being, which is very different than all of the situations and circumstances you've had to endure. Be brave. Be strong, be courageous, and be beautiful, because you are. Because there is no one else on the planet like you, and believe it or not, you are needed in some way, shape, or form to be exactly who you came to this planet to be, without all the other junk. Without all the mind videos playing over and over again. I wish you healing, health, wholeness, and above all else, love. And I will see you tomorrow in my next video. Until next time, bye-bye.